Hello everybody and welcome to the Friday practice review for the 2020 Portuguese Grand Prix. We're back in the Algarve for the first time since 1996, but it's at a new track and certainly today's practice sessions delivered. Formula One heads back to Portugal for the first time since 1996. We're at the circuit of the Algarve in Portimao. Just 6 races remain then on this redesigned 2020 calendar. We're in the middle of a run which takes us to Grand Prix that either have never been on the calendar or haven't been for many years. This weekend the Portuguese Grand Prix. Next week a 2-day event at Imola for the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix. Then we take a break before Turkey rejoins for the first time since 2011. And then in late November we're in Bahrain. A week later on the outer course for the Sakhir Grand Prix. And the season rounds out on the 13th of December in Abu Dhabi. Lewis Hamilton leads the Drivers' Championship by 69 points after Valtteri Bottas failed to finish last weekend's Eiffel Grand Prix. He's now in a battle with Max Verstappen. In terms of the midfield teams, a podium for Daniel Ricciardo has promoted him to 4th place. The battle between him, Perez, Norris, Albon, Leclerc and Stroll and Gasly is still very much up for grabs. On the second half of the page, the battle could still include Carlos Sainz, only 2 points away from Pierre Gasly. Esteban Ocon in sort of on a midfield battle of his own. Sebastian Vettel just 17 points to his name, failing to score last time out in Eiffel as well. From Danny Kvyat and Nico Hülkenberg now on 10 points, Giovinazzi 3, Raikkonen on 2, the same as Romain Grosjean, who has finally scored points this year. No points on the board still though for Nicholas Latifi or George Russell. In terms of the Constructors' Championship, Mercedes could wrap it up this weekend if Red Bull score no points. Racing Point versus McLaren and Renault, the battle to watch for over 3rd place. Ferrari sort of on their own on 80 points. The same could be said for AlphaTauri on 67, Alfa Romeo on 5, Haas on 3 and Williams on 0. It's the Friday practice review for the 2020 Portuguese Grand Prix. Well, let's take a look around this 2.678 mile circuit here. It's a brand new circuit. It's the Portimao circuit, or the international circuit of the Algarve. It was built in the early 90s and it is difficult, as today's drivers found out. Let's take a look around the track now with IndyCar's car of James Hinchcliffe on Project Cars 2. Let's take a look at the Autodromo Internacional de Algarve, or to me and you, Portimao in Portugal. The first time the race has been held here for Formula One, and the first time in Portugal since 1996. Riding on board in IndyCar with James Hinchcliffe down towards turn number 1. A quick flick to the right before a longer little straight to turn 2 and turn 3. Heavy on the brakes as you begin to go uphill now. Control the wheel of the slide coming out. A blind apex to turn 4 as you run down to the very long hairpin. Turn number 5 past the hotel on your left. Downhill braking zone. Be careful not to unload the front left tyre and lock up. Run deep into the hairpin, get a good exit speed as you run up now towards the kink at turn 7. Double apex right now for turn 7 and 8. Quite similar to what we see at turn 1 and 2. Easy to have the car understeer. Uphill now towards turn number 8. It's a quick kick to the left hand side. Another blind apex before turn 10 and 11. Hard now on the brakes into double barrel corner. Drop down the hill towards turns 12 and 13 on the track. Again, it is double barreled, hard to see with a blind apex. Hug the inside line. Now you can get the power on as you drop downhill through the last corner on the track. Full throttle, full power, uphill now. The long drag, the only DRS detection zone on the track. Full power, fling the car to the right and hope for the best as you're on to the start-finish straight, long in the DRS zone and across the line to complete the lap of Portimao, or the circuit of the Algarve. Well, let's get straight into the first practice report for the Portuguese Grand Prix. And the first one since 1996 kicked off with Mercedes having the battle. It was Bottas fastest in FP1 ahead of Lewis Hamilton as well. Max Verstappen in third place, so it looked like the same order as what we're used to in 2020. However, with just 20 of the 90 minutes remaining, both Mercedes drivers went with complete full pace on the soft tyres as well and went up to the leaderboard. There was a few swapping of positions early on as well as the drivers got used to the circuit for the first time. Hard tyres for want of Hamilton's benchmark of a 1:19.526, but in the end, it was Bottas who pumped in the fastest time, a 1:18.410 overall. Verstappen, hard tyres as well, shot up to the top of the leaderboard but went down to third, 7 tenths off, nearly 8 tenths off Bottas. He was a number to spin on the track surface as well. Albon was fifth, complaining of low initial speeds. Red Bull, well, Charles Leclerc surprised everyone and put fourth place, splitting the two Red Bulls. Leclerc and Ferrari seem to have genuine pace coming into this weekend. Further below that, we can see the better improvements of Ferrari as well, but Albon might round out the top 5. Sebastian Vettel only in 11th place to be much better on in this afternoon's free practice 2 session. McLaren's Carlos Sainz, 6th fastest as well, the 3rd fastest driver on the medium compound tyres. Perez was P7 for Racing Point. Highest one for Carlos Sainz though, of 42 laps in the first practice session, so that's a quarter of the 2/4 of the race distance done. Absolutely fantastic. Kimi Raikkonen shot to P8 as well in the dying moments of the session for Alfa Romeo, just behind Perez. Esteban Ocon for Renault on the hard compound tyres rounded out the top 10. Pierre Gasly ahead of Vettel overall. Lando Norris behind Vettel in 12th. Kvyat spun with a few dying moments at turn 3, just locked up the rears and went down into 13th place. Haas, well, Magnussen was 14th, faster than Grosjean, who dropped down to 17th. In between, though, we get Lance Stroll, who's recovered from his COVID, little small bout of COVID, which is great news. Williams at the back with Russell and Latifi, and Ocon split them in 19th place. But the new track surface was proving tricky to get used to for the drivers. We saw a load of spins throughout, and that was the main problem in FP1. A lot of spins, a lot of drivers going off the track. 62 lap times in total were deleted throughout the field, and a total of 125 were cancelled on Friday. That is just insane. Let's take a look at the times, though, from FP1. So Valtteri Bottas tops the first practice session of the Portuguese Grand Prix at 1:18.410. Lewis Hamilton is second on a 1:18.749. Max Verstappen third, a 1:19.191. Charles Leclerc fourth, a 1:19.309. Alexander Albon in fifth place, a 1:19.365. Carlos Sainz is in sixth on a 1:19.441. Sergio Perez seventh, a 1:19.907. Kimi Raikkonen in eighth place, a 1:19.954. Then we get Daniel Ricciardo, a 1:20.058, and Pierre Gasly rounds out the top 10 on a 1:20.124. Then we get Sebastian Vettel 11th, a 1:20.2. Lando Norris is 12th, a 1:22.07. Danny Kvyat 13th, a 1:22.78. Kevin Magnussen, a 1:28.46 in 14th. Lance Stroll 15th, a 1:29.54. Antonio Giovinazzi 16th, a 1:21.009. Romain Grosjean in 17th place, a 1:21.69. George Russell 18th, a 1:21.374. Esteban Ocon 19th, a 1:21.673. And Nicholas Latifi is 20th, a 1:22.054. 3.6 seconds separate the field in the first practice session for the Portuguese Grand Prix. Maximum time on the board though, Carlos Sainz, 42 laps completed. On On to free practice 2 then for the Portuguese Grand Prix, and it was Valtteri Bottas once again topping the session, topping Friday absolutely dominantly if you ask me. He's looking a strong one coming into this weekend. Second place went Verstappen, Norris third with Leclerc again in fourth and Sainz in fifth. A very strong performance from the two McLarens late on, but it was a very much disrupted session to begin with as well. Gasly pulled up at the side of the track at turn 13, bringing out the red flags because his Honda engine caught fire in a massive plume of yellow and orange flames from the back as well. Marshall's eventually putting the blaze out as well, but it took around about 75 seconds for the entire car to be put out. What happened after the session restarted with 29 minutes to go? Verstappen on his outlap let Stroll by. Stroll right round the outside of turn 13, cut off Verstappen, and then after Stroll had completed his lap, the teams didn't realise that actually he was going for a second run to see how the tyres would perform. Verstappen, thinking that Stroll had backed out of it, went to overtake Stroll into turn 1. Stroll turns in, Verstappen turning into the corner already, but the two come together and off the track. Now, that brought out the second red flag. It was out for 18 minutes, a bit unusual because it only had to be craned off the track. We'll have to look to see what's going to happen if that happens in the race when we have a safety car or a red flag. It's very bizarre. But it proves that, one, that DRS zone and the entrance to turn 1 is going to be a very tricky corner to overtake in the race as well, and two, the fact that Stroll wasn't looking where he was going and Verstappen should have backed out earlier on. It was very much a 50-50 in the end. It took us a while to deduce that in our live coverage of practice 2 that you can go back and watch all weekend long. But they were summoned to the stewards, and then they were told that they would be given no further action as it was deemed a misunderstanding and a racing incident. Another incident as well was Daniel Ricciardo having the new test tyres used for the first half an hour of practice 2. All the teams were required to put on the Pirelli test tyres, but Daniel Ricciardo and his mechanics accidentally put the wrong wheels on the wrong side. So his left was on his right and his right was on his left. Not great, I know, but they've only been given a warning for that as well, as there was no initial damage. So that's great news. Moving back to the action then. Verstappen, as I said, already tried to drag out, and I must just say, Verstappen on the radio saying some very derogatory terms, and we must just say that that is not right whatsoever. We can't repeat it, but it's out there online to see as well, but we cannot endorse that in Formula 1 anymore. That's completely no-go area there, Max. I'm sorry about that. Going further down, when the session restarted for the second time, just 8 minutes remained in the session as well, so every driver went out on the track on the soft compound tyres. Bottas didn't improve on his overall time, but a 1:17.940 is the benchmark on the soft compound tyre of the C3, which is interesting to see going on later on. But moving further back, McLaren's Lando Norris onward to P3, Leclerc 4th, matched the time he did this morning. Moving further down as well, Ferrari looking good. Sainz was P5. Vettel was 6th. Hamilton dropped way off the pace, but he got a very much disrupted run because of the constant red flag. So practice 3 tomorrow will show us more of that. Top 10 round out by Esteban Ocon as well. And the second Red Bull of Alexander Albon. George Russell was very impressive. 11th place overall, ahead of Racing Point of Sergio Perez in P12. Daniel Ricciardo dropped down to 13th, ahead of Nicholas Latifi. But George Russell in 11th and Nicholas Latifi 14th. That is great news for Williams at a track that should suit their car. Now they've got some money into it. The first 30 minutes of FP2 was utilised for the Pirelli of the blind tyre test of the company's 2021 prototype compounds. There was no meaningful laps done, but we did see some spins as well for Sainz and Perez early on in the session. But what a time today has been. A little dull in places, but when the action was there, it really did hot up. We've got loads of talking points coming into tomorrow for free practice 3, and it's going to be fantastic. It really is determined that, again, coming to a new racetrack like at Mugello where the team's got absolutely no data. It's fascinating. This is a great time. Let's take a look at the times then from FP2. Valtteri Bottas tops Friday then here at Portimao, 1:17.940. Max Verstappen second on a 1:18.535. Lando Norris is third, a 1:18.743, followed by Charles Leclerc in the Ferrari, a 1:18.838. Carlos Sainz fifth, a 119.113. Then we see Sebastian Vettel 6th, a 119.175. Pierre Gasly 7th on a 119.178. Lewis Hamilton further down in 8th place, a 119.308. Esteban Ocon in 9th, a 119.496. Alexander Albon rounds up the top 10, a 119.643. Drop further down the order, George Russell impressing everyone in 11th place, a 119.821. Sergio Perez is in 12th place, a 119.901. Daniel Ricciardo 13th, a 119.987. Nicholas Latifi 14th, a 120.465. Kimi Raikkonen 15th for Alfa Romeo, a 120.490. Followed by Kevin Magnussen in 16th, a 120.680. Danny Kvyat 17th on a 120.729. Romain Grosjean 18th, a 128.67. Lance Stroll 19th, a 129.83. And Antonio Giovinazzi is 20th, a 121.396. So we're back tomorrow at 10:55 UK time and Portuguese time for the third practice session commentary. Qualifying will also be live. I'll just double check the times. I think that's at 1:50. 1:45 I've been told we're on here for qualifying, a 15-minute build-up for that. And the race day as well, our coverage gets underway at 12:30 with lights out at 1:10. And don't forget you can watch the Saturday practice view at 1:30, just before the main live show starts if you've missed any of the action. And the Sunday race preview will be on at the slightly earlier time of 11 o'clock. So thank you very much for joining us here today for all of the action. We'll see you tomorrow, but it's Valtteri Bottas in the Algarve who's top here on Friday. Bye for now.